Wisconsin Library, and we are here for Art Explorers. Today, we're going to talk about story quilts or narrative quilts using Faith Ringgold's book, Tar Beach. Faith Ringgold is an artist, and she's known for her story quilts. She calls them narrative quilts. And what they are is a quilt with pictures in them that tell a story. So Tar Beach, the book, is available at the library. You could check it out and see some of the pictures that is on this quilt, Tar Beach. But we're just going to take a look really quick at some of the art from the quilt that we're going to be inspired by. So, Tar Beach is a story of Faith Ringgold when she was younger. And Tar Beach is what they would call the top of their rooftop, where they would go and sit and look at the stars or sit out in the sun. Each one of the pictures featured in this book is a tiny square within the quilt that was painted. Around the outside of the quilt is a border that is just different patterns. And then around that is a solid border. So each picture is a small section of the quilt, and it goes in a line like a story, kind of the way you would see a comic book. And it talks about her parents and her family and how they would enjoy their time on their Tar Beach, and basically kind of a dream that she had, flying over the city. So, for our piece, what we're going to do is we're going to create our own Tar Beach quilt. You can see this is the finished piece here. So in the kit you got from the library, you are going to have a couple pieces of paper and some colored cut sections, as well as a guide to some common patterns that you would see on an everyday quilt. We're going to do our story quilt just a little bit different. So you will get a blank piece of paper, and what we're going to have to do is create a grid. And you can see I kind of laid out the grid here. What you want to do is you want to take a ruler, which what I have this on, this blue section here, it has a ruler on it. So you're going to measure it 1 inch from the side and 1 inch up and create this rectangle. So we'll have 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. Then you're going to create the grid. Now the grids that I have are about 1 1/4 inches along the top and about 2 1/4 inches along the side. Now you can make them bigger if you want to have less than 4 squares, or you can make them smaller if you want to have more than 4 squares across and 5 squares down. It's totally up to you, as long as you have a border and a decent amount of squares. After you have laid it out, you're going to take the colored pieces of paper that are inside and you're going to cut them to size to fit in. Now you want to go every other with the colored paper, which I made my grid so that I could remember how it goes. So you want to have solid color to make your shaped quilt, and then a blank space so that you could draw your picture. What you're going to do is you're going to create the shaped areas with some of the other pieces of colored paper. And I gave you a guide that has some designs using some different shapes, like a rectangle or a square. And what you're going to do is kind of arrange them however you'd like. So there is a couple patterns that are, I believe, flying geese. There's a couple that are more traditional, but you're just going to basically lay out the design you want with your triangles, however you want that to be. You can follow the patterns that were supplied, or you can create your own pattern. That's also totally up to you. So each section of the colored paper is what we're going to do these kind of block designs in. So I made my little quilt pattern here. And then I would do one in the next colored square and so on and so on. After you've glued down your quilt pattern, then we're going to start drawing our story inside of the blank spaces. So you can think of something that you want to tell. Maybe it is a story about your family or a trip that you took, or maybe it's something kind of like what Faith Ringgold said in her book, where it's kind of like a dream sequence, right? They imagined they were flying above the city and looking at all the neat things that they would see from up above. So you can do something that is a little bit more dreamlike, or you could do something that's a little bit more realistic. But whatever you do, you're going to draw it just like a comic book and kind of break the story up into each one of these boxes. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 boxes. So I want to break my story up and draw it out so that it fits in all 10 of the boxes. Another thing that you could do is have little vignettes. Now that's a funny word, but a vignette is kind of just like a snapshot. So you could have a different snapshot or vignette in each one of these. And it could be something that's chronological, like maybe when you were a baby, and then you could be a toddler in this one, and then, you know, work your way up in age until you get to the 10th box, and that would be you now, like a portrait of you at different ages. That would be pretty neat. Or you could just do, you know, 10 different scenes that you remember, or 10 different pieces of a story that you want to think of. The whole purpose of the narrative or story quilt is to express a story to other people through pictures and symbols that are important to you. So that is all you have to do to create your very own story or narrative quilt. Again, I highly suggest checking out Faith Ringgold's books. And also I will put a couple links on this page so you can go to her website, look at her art, and a couple articles about her artwork. But I'd love to see the story quilt that you create. If you want to send us a picture, you can definitely do that. You can send it to j.o'malley@ellajohnsonlibrary.org and we'll share them on our Facebook page. So I can't wait to see what you created, and I hope you enjoyed this Art Explorers with me today. And go and look at some Faith Ringgold artwork and read one of her books. I know you will enjoy it. Have a good day.